Hello, beautiful souls. How are you? I am coming to you with a bit of a sensitive topic. Um, I may spell some things so it can stay on YouTube. But I'm going to also upload this to my Rumble channel just in case. Um, Today, I'm bringing you a message that Quan Yin has really pushed forward in the last few days, probably about a week now. It started with um, heart chakra healing, that very, very deep healing that needed to be done. It started with myself, and then it's morphed, right? It's grown. It's a bigger issue, and so I'm making another video, another layer, if you would, to really get down to, I think, what is a very instrumental and key, vital part of soul beings truly healing and finding their peace within themselves. So I'm going to start off our reading. This is a passage from the Quan Yin activation in the Sophia Code. If you have the book, it's on page 259. Someone asked Quan Yin, why would anyone hurt an innocent child? Quan Yin replies, they did not know how to stop what they did. The suffering it takes to wound a child in such a way as this, or in any way at all, is a suffering beyond logic. As a wild animal bent over in maddening pain strikes out without thought, so too the human awareness possessed by suffering cannot stop itself from hurting others. Suffering exacts such acts of pain upon others without reason, for suffering is the true definition of insanity. Now, I was prompted yesterday to go back into the Sophia Code and look for some specific things that Quan Yin wants to develop a session to help heal the inner child. And that passage jumped off the page to me for several reasons, but I'm going to try to encapsulate it as concisely as I can. Most of what light beings and any child experiences when they are in a SRA scenario or a general abuse scenario, they're, to me, in my heart, in my soul, it's very hard for me to reconcile any reasons. But we have to know. And I've said this before in many, many videos ever since I started my YouTube channel. Give us the truth and let us come to terms with it. No matter how bad it is, just give it to us, because we can respect the truth, but we can't respect a lie or a false narrative or some other made up story to hide the truth. So the truth is that some very evil, evilly motivated people around the turn of the 18th to 19th century harnessed a lot of black magic power by manipulating things that were meant for good and things that were of the light, people, places, and things of the light for their own power. Okay. It is known that children have the most pure energy and light and that innocence. And so when a child is targeted, the target age is 0 to 12 years old. So newborn, sometimes even still in utero. Torture begins very early. And it is all because they want to harness what they cannot produce, which is power and light. So in the Sophia Code, Quan Yin speaks about being the compassionate angel and teaches the path of karuna, compassion. The Sanskrit word root for compassion is karuna. Karuna is defined as to be closely held by yourself, that no separation can remain within you. Well, the goal of early childhood mistreatment is to fracture and splinter the mind and the soul separate, because that allows for the perfect environment for that darkness to take hold. If you refuse yourself the embrace, you are already suffering, right? We're already suffering immeasurably. This amplifies the pain. So I have said this previously, and I'll say it again here. When I was 21, my twin flame was in an accident and he died. And it was heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching. I remember touching my forehead because it was so tender to touch, because I had cried so much that every part of my skin and the muscles and everything that cause you to pull your head down, I was so sore from overusing them, from crying. Anyway, in that time frame, I was 21 years old. I had a faith. I didn't know what it was. I mean, I had a faith in a higher being. I didn't label myself in any type of religion. And I felt like there were very, very strong hands that came behind me and held me and like scooped me up and put me, this weakened version of me, on their lap and held me and allowed me a lot of time to heal. And in doing that, at the time, just thought it was God, right? God came and he helped me and he held me and he gave me strength. And I've dug into that more lately. I've been able to really drill down and know that that's when I got my first walk-in. And it was the walk-in soul that was strong and evolved that held me. And it was a soul of a life I had had previously. And it gave me time to allow my inner child to heal. And that's taken years, decades, because I kept compartmentalizing that pain and that feeling. I never wanted to feel that again, ever. So to embody a true compassionate soul, you have to fully love yourself and you have to fully forgive yourself. And that is something that for many of us, it is very, very, very hard to do, because we have come through things that ripped us apart energetically and our heart. And we never want to feel that again. But in order to heal, you really do have to dip your toe back into those healing waters. And that means that you have to feel, right? It's a lot safer to not feel, but it also prevents you from living a truly balanced life. Okay. So I'm going to bring it forward. This time in our life, we have now had many documented films, documentaries, images, text, depositions of the atrocities that have occurred and are still occurring to our youngest population of people. And so it is really in our face now because it needs to be, because we have to stop this insanity. Okay. We as a population have been manipulated into a slave race to fulfill the needs of the darkness. And we are taking that power back, and we are zapping their ability to do the things that they've done to us in the past. Now, this requires us to heal ourselves first, because if we don't do it for ourselves, we can't do it for someone else. And I know there are millions of people, billions of people that want nothing more than to stop the attacks on our children. Many times it's because they too were attacked. Many times it's because they too were targeted or their children were. And it hits very close to home. So this is how we do this. We have the balance we're craving of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. We now know, because we light workers, way showers, and starseeds have done a very good job of delivering the message of the divine feminine has been suppressed. People need to understand that we have a father, mother, God, that we have a creator, source creator of all things, and a mothersophia, creatrix of all life. They come together, they create the world that we know, the people, the places, the things. And a lot of their magic has been twisted. We're taking all that back. And how do we do that? We start with ourselves. We save other people by saving ourselves. You have to love yourself enough to jump back into the ring of fire and fight your battle and come out victorious. And then you have your armor on, and then you can go and you can help others. If you don't do that first, you are just asking to be knocked back down because you have wounds on the inner child level that have not been healed. And it is multi-layered. Okay. So we want to help. This can be a very arduous process. This can be something that takes, I don't want it to be decades for anybody. You know, I wasn't in a place to know what I know now then, but I am. And I'm being asked by Source and Mother Sophia and Isis and Hathor and Quan Yin to help as much as possible. Yes, it's free will choice. I'm not going to ever force any of this on anyone. But if you are suffering and you have been suffering and your whole life has been suffering, what do you have to lose? It requires softening your heart. That in itself was huge. I had a huge breakthrough a couple weeks ago because I admitted out loud that I don't feel love from anyone, anything except for my dog. I don't feel it. I didn't feel it. And when I said that out loud, Quan Yin and Green Tara and White Buffalo Calf Woman and Hathor and Isis and Saint Germain and Joshua, they flooded me with healing and love and proved me wrong. Like, do you feel this? This is love. This is what you can feel. And we're going to give you more. And we're going to give you more. And it makes me very emotional because I spent so much of my life not feeling that I feel everything now. So I apologize. Tears are good. Okay. So we need to soften the heart. Now, a first phase of this evolution of sessions came about with a fellow crew member who has been imbued with skills and taught, literally working hand in hand with the Ascended Masters to remove the walls that we put up around our hearts. And so it's not required, but it is recommended to have that. So you would, if this appeals to you, we would want you to, number one, clear out all of your negative distortions, because this has got to be the first step, just the blank slate kind of deal. That's the first layer. And then the second layer would be level 1 with Rachel. And then that would be the earliest recommended time to have your inner child healing, would be after that first session with Rachel. And some people, depending on their own individual circumstances, could need up to 4 sessions. And that's all depending upon your life and the layers that are there. So softening the heart so that you can accept the gift of truly embodying a compassionate heart for yourself, right? We've got to start within ourselves. When we look for relationships, they are distorted if our inner child is wounded. And I'll explain that in a minute. Far too many of us, light beings, not just light beings. I don't want to say if you're a starseed or a lightworker or a way shower that you're the only ones that were targeted as a child. That's not true, but it is a predominant number. So because our light was brighter, lineage was stronger, they had more to gain from harming us. So many were targeted through SRA and black magic. And those soul bindings, also known as cords and attachments, were used forevermore to manipulate through negative energy. And that's what we have to get rid of. So that's the first layer. That's why it's the first layer. You got to we don't want to give healing positive energy and you still have negative cords and attachments to the darkness, because we're just going to give it to them. They're just going to siphon it off of you and you'll be left with nothing. So the target age is 0 to 12. Children victims of SRA yield the most productive way to steal soul energy and create soul damage, which forevermore into adulthood lends that soul being to being manipulated and used. So the balanced divine feminine and divine masculine, if you think of them as 2 poles, what is the magnet to the divine feminine and the divine masculine being balanced? It's the inner child. It's the heart. It's the inner child. That's the glue that keeps them together, that keeps them in balance. If you have done a ton of divine feminine work, yay. If you've done a ton of divine masculine work, yay. You have to also do the inner child work. You have to. It's a must. It requires being fully healed. So we're going into this golden age of miracles. Well, one of the very first miracles that we really are a part of is taking our power back from these assholes who decided for us that our life was just theirs to manipulate. So if that angers you, contact me. We can help you take your power back. You are so much more powerful and bright and loved and supported by the divine, by Father God, by Mother God, by the angels and the archangels. When this came through, I was asking some specific questions of Isis, and many archangels stepped forward and said, we want to help. They need to call on us. We want to help. This needs to be done. So the inner child is the glue that binds the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So in order to fully embody and fully be, truly be your highest and best good in the fifth dimension timeline, which is the golden age of miracles, which is new earth. In order to balance that, you got to do the inner child work. How do you know that you have inner child work to do? Some people are extremely, extremely adept at compartmentalizing those wounds, and no one is really aware of it. They've kept it very hidden. This is some signs. These are some common you see that you exhibit characteristics, I would say, whenever your inner child is deeply wounded. You have distance and disconnect with your parent. There's safety issues, trust issues, right? You have immense guilt that is very prevalent on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't matter what the scenario is, you feel guilt about it. Like everything's your fault and you can't do anything right. But you strive to be a people pleaser because you, although you're very accustomed to guilt and shame and blame, you'd rather not. You'd rather get some gratitude. You'd rather get some accolades. Overachiever syndrome, right? Failure is not an option because you don't want to have any more of the shame, guilt, blame. Feelings of being an unforgiven sinner. And this is where really all of the man-made religions fall in line here, because this is how they manipulate so many souls, because they oppress you by feeling like you're never good enough. And we're all sinners because we're born from a sin. No, we're not. No, we're not. You created that narrative. You manipulated perfectly good, sovereign light being to your benefit. That is not truth. That is what you have sold, but it is according to our angels and our archangels and our Father God and our. You will self-sabotage like it's a hobby. I'm guilty of a lot of these also. Like this is pretty much describing me to a T before me. Self-sabotage like a hobby. So you're going to make plans, you're going to talk it up, you're going to look like you want to do better and do good, and then you're going to ruin it for yourself because you truly feel on a inner child soul level that you are not deserving. You seek abusive relationships because you find comfort in them, because it's what you know, it's what you can relate to. You're very uncomfortable with anything that feels good. Totally guilty of that. Coping via addictions and negative habits. Again, I was an alcoholic before I woke up. And most people in my family are alcoholics. So it's very common because it's a depressant, but it also numbs. It gets your mind off of something temporarily, and it always makes it worse, just so you know. Anything new causes fear and anxiety immediately. And we see this a lot in those beings that are also of the fairy lineage. That is a trait. Those beautiful, beautiful elementals have incarnated in this very, very toxic environment for them. And they have been horribly mistreated and horribly manipulated. And so anything, even though it's really good for them, anything that is new or different, they do not trust it. They run away. They would rather be in their misery because that's what they know. It's so sad. So as you can see, I feel everything now. I'm really happy about it. I'm not going to apologize. I spent decades truly not feeling. I felt things here and there, but I would not call it living. I would not call it being able to receive love. I gave a lot of love. I gave a lot of love. I couldn't receive it. I couldn't really process it. It didn't feel right. And so I'm one of you, right? So the session is actually still being developed, but I have a lot of stuff on the table and I need to get this out today. Because I want you to, if you do nothing else for yourself, please, please do this. You deserve it. You deserve to be able to live. You deserve to be able to be loved and give love, and the highs and lows of love and relationships and joy and sadness and all the things that we're meant to experience in life. Okay, right? Rainbows and butterflies are great, but we appreciate the light because we've been in the darkness, right? The light is so much brighter, the grass is so much greener, the sky is so much more beautiful because we've come through the darkness. I want you to really, really feel that on a soul level. I implore you, please reach out to us. I'm going to have the healing disclosures link to my Telegram channel in the description box of this video, but I'm also going to have the QET channel. And that's just for people who want to get this done. Like, you don't want to really entertain any other conversations or anything about ascendant masters or anything like that. You just want to know what can be done to help my life be better. That's fine. Just come to the QET channel. When you join, let us know what you're there for, and we will do our very, very best in the most unity conscious, Christ-centered way of helping you out, because that is what we are supposed to do for our brothers and sisters, is help each other. There are a lot of people that are not on this planet for the greater good, and they have, in my opinion, overstayed their welcome. And I am absolutely divinely led to help and to heal as many as I can. And so, and we have loving, compassionate souls that have been through this, that are going through this now. Like I said, this is very new and very raw. I'm very transparent. This has all come about over the last several days, but it's very important for so many people to heal fully, to really embody the divine feminine and the divine masculine in a true balance. You have to heal the inner child. You have to. And it's not fun, but the other side of it is so much more rich, and it's so much more, just more. It's deep, and it's genuine, and it's authentic, no matter what it is. It's no longer skimming the surface of life. It's really digging down deep and knowing who you are, and knowing that you're safe, and knowing that you're loved. And why do you know you're loved? Because you decided to love yourself enough to heal. So please check out the links. If this resonates with you, I'm more than happy, divinely led and called to help you. I look forward to talking to you again later. You guys have a great day.